a week ago. He's the back, Mahomes, double clutch, in traffic, and caught on the run, Rashee Rice through the secondary.
Hello everyone, welcome to Kansas Future. I thought the entire defensive line played a really good game. Offensively, we battled through some challenges and did a good job in the first half. However, I've got to take care of business on my end in the third quarter by giving our guys things they can work with. I wasn't able to do that today, and I'll take responsibility for it. I thought Joe Thuney, who was asked to play left tackle even though he hasn't done that since college, got out there and really battled. He did a nice job against one of the best defensive ends in the game right now. He truly gave it his all. Then there's Kelly Endo. What a great experience for him to play a full game. That's going to help him and the team down the road, so I really appreciate his effort. As for any changes moving forward, we'll just have to see how things go, particularly on the offensive line. Number 30 also forced a fumble on special teams, which was tremendous. Everyone contributed. Offense scored a couple of times, defense made some big plays, and special teams had their moments. We've just got to keep improving as we go. That's the most important thing. At the end of the day, the most critical thing is that you win the game. I'm not apologizing to anyone for that. Regarding Patrick, the early indications are that he'll be okay. From what I can tell, it's not broken. I just got off the field, so we'll take it day by day to see how things progress. I don't know how much swelling there is or what will develop, but we'll monitor it closely. When it came to the decision to take him out, it was a combination of the game situation and not wanting to push it. He probably could have gone back in, he wanted to fight about it, but we have solid support with Carson. It was good to get Carson some reps and let the guys hear his snap count just in case he needs to step in. As for Patrick, he's a tough kid. He wanted to return to the game, but there was no need to push it today. We only had 4 penalties today, which is great. This team has been in the top half of the league for years when it comes to limiting penalties. My philosophy is to focus on fundamentals and technique. Officials do their best, and while we can't control their calls, we've been fortunate in that regard. To prevent penalties, we emphasize fundamentals and practice them constantly. It's not enough to just talk about it. You've got to put in the work. When I mentioned taking care of business in the third quarter, I meant giving our guys better options and cleaning up the game plan. I'll make sure to handle that going forward. As for the decision to put Joe Thuney at left tackle, it was due to an injury to DJ. Joe had taken a couple of snaps there last week, so he was the best option in that situation. I just felt comfortable with him as a veteran player. I scouted him as a tackle, so I knew he could step in and battle. He's been an all-pro at 2 other positions, so it made sense to give him a chance at the tackle spot. Nate, regarding the decision not to kick a field goal or punt from the 39-yard line, I wanted to go for it. I thought we had a good play lined up, but it just didn't work out. We've been successful in those situations before, but not today. As for being pass-heavy in the third quarter, you've got to be able to throw the ball in this league. That's how it works. You all saw the game. Some of our runs didn't work too well either. That's something we need to clean up and improve on. I can certainly do a better job setting them up for success there. I did talk to Patrick after the game. He mentioned he felt like he could have stayed in, but with his high ankle sprain, it was the right decision to let Carson Wentz step in. NFL insiders Ian Rappaport and Mike Florio are calling it week to week, which really means we're not sure how long he'll be out. Patrick even admitted that the real pain often hits the next day. During the game, adrenaline keeps you going, but once it wears off, reality sets in. The Chiefs still managed to finish with a 21-7 victory, but it didn't feel like much of a celebration with Patrick leaving the field on a cart. That moment was surreal, like time stood still. Let's be real, this team without Mahomes feels like a completely different scenario. Here's a quick poll. How confident are you in the Chiefs without Patrick Mahomes? Drop your vote in the comments. Mahomes isn't just any quarterback. He's the quarterback. In just 6 seasons, he's accomplished more than most players do in their entire careers. 3 Super Bowl rings, 2 MVP awards, 6 Pro Bowl selections. The list goes on. What's your favorite Mahomes moment? Was it the no-look pass, the left-handed throw, or maybe that legendary Super Bowl comeback against the 49ers? Drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to see if we agree. It's not just about the stats or highlight reels. Patrick is the heartbeat of this team. Under his leadership, the Chiefs have made the playoffs 6 straight seasons. That's not luck, it's consistency. Coming into this week, the Chiefs were 86-23 in games he started. Let that sink in. What really sets Patrick apart is his ability to turn nothing into something. You've seen it. Defenders closing in, chaos everywhere, and somehow, Mahomes still makes magic happen. Losing him, even for a short time, is a huge deal. It's like trying to replace a unicorn with a regular horse. If Patrick had stayed in the game, do you think the score would have been different? Could we have put up 30, maybe even 40 points? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, even with Mahomes, the Chiefs' offense hasn't been the unstoppable force it once was. And if you've been paying attention, you probably saw this coming. Losing Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins was a game changer. Sure, in 2022, guys like Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdes-Scantling stepped up. They weren't Tyreek, but they got the job done, and we brought home another Lombardi trophy. This season, though, it's been rough. Rashee Rice showed flashes of brilliance, but then we lost him for the season. Mecole Hardman was supposed to help, but injuries have kept him off the field too. At one point, it felt like we were relying on Travis Kelce to do everything. Don't get me wrong, Kelce is still the best tight end in football, but even he can't carry the entire offense on his back. Here's a question for you. Which receiver do you think has stepped up the most this year? Is it Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, or maybe even Justin Watson? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts. And then came the trade for DeAndre Hopkins. Finally, it looked like the Chiefs were reloading their arsenal. But let's be honest, without Mahomes, even the best receivers in the league can't thrive. He's the one who makes this offense tick, who turns broken plays into touchdowns. It's a tough pill to swallow, but the truth is this offense has vulnerabilities, and Mahomes has been the glue holding it all together. Now, with him sidelined, the spotlight is on Carson Wentz. Can he step up and keep this team afloat? That's exactly what we're about to tackle next. Alright, let's talk about the man stepping into some massive shoes. Carson Wentz. Now I know what you're thinking. Wentz? Really? And yeah, it's fair to have doubts. He hasn't exactly been the most consistent quarterback in recent years, but let's give the guy a fair shake here. Wentz brings something valuable to the table. Experience. This isn't some rookie being thrown to the wolves. He's been a starter, played in big games, and dealt with his own share of adversity. Remember his MVP caliber season with the Eagles before his injury? Sure, that was a while ago, but the talent is still there. Here's the real question. Can Wentz keep the Chiefs competitive until Mahomes is back? We're not asking him to be Mahomes, because let's face it, no one can. What we need is someone who can manage the game, avoid turnovers, and let the rest of the team do their thing. So, what do you think? Do you trust Wentz to hold it down for a few games? Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down in the comments, or better yet, rate your confidence level from 1 to 10. But let's be real, the stakes couldn't be higher. The AFC is stacked and every game matters. Wentz doesn't just need to play well, he needs to play smart. With weapons like Kelce and Hopkins at his disposal, there's hope. Still, it all comes back to Mahomes. The team can patch things up for now, but for the Chiefs to go the distance, they need their leader back. That brings us to the million-dollar question. What's next for Mahomes and this team? Stick around because we're breaking it all down in the final chapter. So here we are, my friend. It's crunch time, and the big question on everyone's mind is, what happens now? The Chiefs are still in the hunt, but without Mahomes, the road ahead looks a lot bumpier. Let's break it down. First, the good news. This isn't Mahomes' first brush with adversity. Remember when he dislocated his knee back in 2019? Everyone thought the season was over, but he came back just a few weeks later and led us to the playoffs. He's a warrior, plain and simple. But recovering from a high ankle sprain isn't something you can rush, especially when every game counts. That's where you come in, Chiefs Kingdom. You're known for being one of the most passionate fan bases in the NFL. Now's the time to rally behind the team, whether it's showing love for Wentz, hyping up the defense, or just keeping the energy alive at Arrowhead. Here's my question for you. What's the best way for fans like us to support the team during this stretch? Drop your ideas in the comments. I want to feature some of the best ones in the next video. Looking ahead, it's all about the short-term grind. The Chiefs need to focus on winning just enough to stay in the playoff hunt until Mahomes is back. Let's not forget, the defense has been lights out this season. If they can keep games close, even a conservative offense led by Wentz might be enough to scrape out some wins. But let's not sugarcoat it. Mahomes is the engine that makes this team go. The sooner he's back, the better. The season, the playoffs, and maybe even another Super Bowl run all hinge on his recovery. Until then, we've got to hold the line. Alright, before we wrap up, I've got one last poll for you. How confident are you that the Chiefs can make a deep playoff run this year? Vote in the comments and tell me why. And hey, if you're still with me, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss the next update. We'll be following this story closely, and I'll be here to break it all down for you. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Chiefs! Now let me tell you something that could completely change the landscape of the AFC, and not in a good way for one team. Imagine this, the reigning Super Bowl champions, a team that's been the gold standard for years, facing a nightmare scenario that could derail their entire season. A star quarterback, arguably the best in the game, sidelined with an injury that could leave them vulnerable to the unthinkable. Trust me, this situation is one you don't want to miss, and the stakes, they're higher than ever. Kansas City's offense, led by the living legend Patrick Mahomes, is now staring at an uncertain future after that brutal hit in the fourth quarter against the Cleveland Browns. This injury isn't just about the immediate impact on the game. No, this goes far beyond that. The Chiefs, despite all they've accomplished this season, now face a scenario that could change everything. Now, I'm not here to tell you that Mahomes' future is sealed, or that it's time to panic, but let's break it down. This ankle injury, a suspected high ankle sprain, mind you, isn't just a little bump in the road. We're talking about the centerpiece of an offense that has carried this team for years, and let me tell you, a high ankle sprain is no joke. This is the kind of injury that lingers, that causes setbacks. The timeline here? Not favorable. The official word is week to week. Sure, the initial diagnosis isn't catastrophic, but don't fool yourself into thinking this is a walk in the park either. When Mahomes took that hit, that brutal, thunderous collision, you saw the pain on his face. You saw him limp off the field, not walking off with a smile or shaking it off like we've seen him do so many times before. This was serious. He didn't come back into the game after that. And let's be real, that's a sign. If a competitor like Mahomes, who plays through pain and adversity like few others, is forced to sit out, we need to pay attention. Now, the X-rays came back negative, but don't let that fool you. X-rays can't tell the full story. It's about how the ankle feels after the swelling sets in, how it reacts to treatment, and how it holds up under the pressure of a live game. More tests are coming, and we're all waiting with bated breath to see just how bad this injury really is. But here's the million-dollar question. What happens if the worst-case scenario comes true? What happens if Mahomes is out for an extended period? Let me tell you, that would be devastating for the Kansas City Chiefs. Forget the stats. Forget the idea of a backup quarterback stepping in and keeping things afloat. If Mahomes is out, everything changes. Sure, the Chiefs have already clinched a playoff spot. That's great. But as we all know, simply making the playoffs doesn't guarantee anything. What they need is the top seed, that crucial home field advantage. And let's not forget, the Buffalo Bills are right on their heels, breathing down their necks with a tiebreaker in hand. This is a tight race to the finish. The Chiefs can't afford to slip up now. The next few games are critical. These aren't matchups against struggling teams you can write off. No, they're playing real contenders, teams with playoff aspirations or teams that have already punched their tickets. Meanwhile, the Bills, they've got the New England Patriots and the New York Jets ahead, two teams limping to the finish line. The Bills are likely to handle their business, which means the pressure is on Kansas City. So, what does this mean for Mahomes? You know he's a competitor. You know he'll push to play if there's even a sliver of a chance. But here's the problem. If he's not 100%, it's not just a minor inconvenience. It could be the difference between the Chiefs cruising to another Super Bowl or watching their dreams go up in smoke. What's the smart play here? Should the Chiefs risk Mahomes returning too soon, or should they prioritize his long-term health? Here's the bottom line. It's hard to overstate just how much the Chiefs depend on Mahomes. And it's not just about his insane playmaking ability, the way he stretches the field, the way he reads defenses with surgical precision. No, it's more than that. It's about his leadership, his composure, his ability to rally the team when the chips are down. Patrick Mahomes isn't just the engine of this offense, he's the heart and soul of this team, and without him at the helm, everything changes. The Chiefs are staring down a dilemma that could make or break their season, and for the first time in a long time, the road ahead doesn't look as clear. That's all for today's update. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for daily Chiefs content. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news and insights.